Well, everyone, the iPhone 6 is one of those phones that came out many years ago. And to be honest, when I look at this phone today, I'm actually pretty surprised how well this phone has held up. But it's also in a very weird situation because this phone has been completely outdated for many years now. And in fact, one of the reasons why this phone was still kind of lingering around, which are the software application updates. So things like Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, Twitter, these apps are still being updated through the App Store. But we're in a situation now, once iOS 16 comes out, the chances of these applications still being supported within the iPhone 6, they're going to be fairly limited. I know the iPhone 5S is now the lowest supported one on a ton of different applications. So the iPhone 6 with iOS 12 is right there as well. So I'll definitely tell you straight out the gate, I would not recommend buying this iPhone anymore, but it's still a fairly interesting device Apple made a few years ago. And back in 2014, almost 8 years ago, this phone was the flagship from Apple. It had that, beautiful 4.7-inch panel, aluminum back, bezels on the front, home button, everything like that. And really, when we look at the iPhone SE 3, it's very interesting to me how decent of a job Apple did with this phone that it still holds up even like 8 years later because Apple decides to not change the iPhone SE 3. So that in and of itself is fairly interesting. I will say, when you look at this phone and you feel it in the hand, you kind of even just mess around with the display, you kind of flick through some pages here and there. I'm still surprised how decent of a performing phone this thing is. It's still completely slow, but it's still fairly smooth for a 2014 phone, which is pretty insane to me. Now, this phone has not gotten any update for the most part. I think this year or last year, I think the middle last year, late last year, that's when the last time we got an iOS 12 update. And that was the only thing that was kind of keeping this phone afloat, was the fact that Apple was supporting this phone with software updates for so many years later. And I found that insanely crazy. So right now, like I said, I think it's been almost a year since we got the last update. I think we got iOS 12.5 or something like that. And here's the thing, I think that was awesome. And the fact that Apple continued to support this thing even so many years later was so awesome. And I really hope they continue to do that kind of stuff. I'm just curious to see what's going to be happening in the future though with the iPhone 6s. And that's probably the next big thing that just happened. The iPhone 6s, which was the successor to this phone, actually ended up getting unsupported with software. So now it somewhat matches where we are with the iPhone 6. Now the iPhone 6s ended up getting many more years of software updates over the iPhone 6, so that's one thing to keep in mind. But it's still very interesting to see what Apple's going to be doing in their next series approach. The fact that the iPhone 6 ended up getting so many years of software updates compared to its predecessor makes me think that that phone is still going to be getting security updates because the iPhone 6 ended up getting security updates for quite a bit of time. Now, another big thing is with jailbreaks, ROMing capability and all that kind of stuff, you still have a fairly long future ahead of yourself with the iPhone 6 as well. There were a ton of jailbreaks that came out for this thing. So if you want to, you can always jailbreak your iPhone 6 and have a pretty decent time with it too. Of course, it wouldn't be the most, feature-full experience of all time, but it's still another thing that you have the option of doing, and I think that's pretty cool at the end of the day. So, to be completely honest, this mid-year review, I honestly wouldn't recommend buying the iPhone 6 anymore. As most of you know, it's fairly outdated and there's not really too much going on or kind of, being there for this device. But I still think it's pretty interesting, how well this iPhone is holding up so many years later. Again, it would not be my first choice. I would not recommend anyone buying it, but it's still a fairly interesting device at the end of the day. So that kind of covers it up. If you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.